welcome to Thrive by the Rising Muse, where we explore the intersections between faith, family, and mental health. Today, we have an incredibly inspiring guest whose journey will touch your heart and uplift your spirit. I'm Natty,
I'm Vita,
and
and
we
we're
are
here
here to
to thrive.
thrive.
Thrilled to welcome you to another episode of Thrive by the Rising Muse. Today we have the honor of speaking with Kimberly Marrow, also known as Chosen Art. Kimberly is an independent artist, motivational speaker, inspirational rap artist, and pastor. You wear a lot of hot hats, Kimberly. She has a passion for helping people break free from what holds them down by sharing her own powerful journey. Kimberly, welcome to the show. Let's start with your faith journey. Can you share more about how it has shaped your music and your ministry?
Yeah, first, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it and appreciate you both for taking the time. Um, I'd say, just like most people, my faith journey is a roller coaster and had been a roller coaster for many years. But I take it back to my grandma. I would call her Nana, and that was my mom's mom. She would take my sister and I both to church. I think I was like 3 or 4 years old, and she would just take us to church, and I loved it. And my parents didn't really go themselves, but I'm always grateful for them to just their yeses, like saying yes to my sister and I to kind of just have the freedom to discover, God for ourselves. And so yeah, I really appreciated that. And I was blessed enough to attend programs that really like kept my attention. So as a kid, the children's pastor was amazing. I always wanted to go. They would run camps and all that kind of stuff, and it just kept me engaged. And then as a teenager, I would go to a youth group, and it was quite relatable. And we would have, lots of just different fun outings and stuff like that. And so I was always kind of intrigued with that and always wanted to go back. And then as I got older, I kind of went to a few other churches just to kind of see. And the one church that I went to, they just offered for my age at the time the young adult program and just different stuff that I just found myself wanting to be involved in. And so I really think that was key for me. And I think that's important as we see in churches today. Some churches are getting smaller and smaller. And I think it's because, it's hard to find programs that are engaging and relatable for the people of today and the youth and kids and all that kind of stuff. So I really feel blessed that I kind of grew up and went to some of these programs that just kept me wanting to go back.
How have your life challenges shaped your journey?
Well, I would say that it's been very, complex for me. And but yeah, like I would say that the scriptures and the Bible stories, like when I was young, I would, you kind of hear them, and sometimes there's videos and all that kind of stuff. But for me, once the word became, um, I had the understanding of the Bible being the living word, and it bring life to me and like meaning and stuff. So once the scripture became alive to me, I discovered like the power of it in my own life and how God became real to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but yeah, like it's really shaped my life. And just discovering the truth and discovering who God is to me along the way.
You talk about your Nana, your
Mhm.
mother's mother. My mother's mother is the reason why I fell in love with Jesus and church.
Oh
I
wow.
used to go to church with her all the time, even through the week. She had mission meeting through the week. Every time she went to church, I was right there by her side as a little girl. And that was my safe place. Fell in love with church, fell in love with Jesus, got baptized at 7. And, like you said, ups and downs in your life. But my faith and your faith kept us close to Jesus.
Amen.
And that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I had, like, for myself, my grandma had passed away just before, I think it was in around before I was 11 years old. And that's a real, like, significant age, right?
Mhm.
Because, you're leaving that kind of the child in you and going towards the teens. And my grandma was like, my nana was my favorite person. Like, I just adored her and loved her. And I remember, like, quite clearly, I remember I got baptized shortly after her passing.
Mm.
And I remember talking about her and how she planted that seed in me. And I look back over all those years and I just think of that seed that was planted and the significance of that. And yeah, like, she was just a beautiful being, and I loved how real she was. Like, when behind closed doors you kind of see the truth of
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
people. And I always loved that, my nana was, you know who she was to everyone else. She was the same in person. She never acted like she was better than anyone, and she was just quite real, and admitted, she had flaws and stuff. But she definitely loved my sister and I very much. And I'm so grateful for that seed planted.
You have a lot of hats, a lot of roles. How do you manage all that? And a pastor and a rap artist? You need to tell me how that happened.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, the first part of that, just the balancing, I really come to realize the importance of prioritizing and knowing, what comes first. And so I was always kind of taught, and I strongly live out that, first, it's God is first. God
Mhm.
is first in my life.
Mhm.
And then my family is second. And sometimes we mix that up and put ministry second. And I think that the first ministry is our home. And who are we behind those doors and walls where nobody else can see us? And
Right.
are we truly loving on the ones that are closest to us? And
Mhm.
so yeah, and then with the ministry, I'm quite mindful of, it's important to not run dry. So
Mhm.
it's really important that I get filled myself so that I can pour out. And I've been through those moments where I'm like, I'm running out of the energy and
Yeah.
I'm just hanging on by a thread. And it's not easy and it's not healthy. And so I've learned just by a lot of failures too, that it's important to to put those, what's most important, to put that first,
Mhm.
and to prioritize your time. So when it comes to ministry, if somebody's in need, I give what I can or reach out to others who can help instead of carrying the load myself and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, how I became a rap artist is interesting in itself. Just like raised kind of like just in the this. I'd be like, no, that just, And so I found it funny when God said, yeah, you're going to be a rapper and a speaker. And I'm like, so I definitely had my, I didn't really want to take that route, but I just hung out with people that also were writers and rappers, and I found myself in a group of guys who they would meet, they would pray, and they would freestyle, and I just hung around them and kind of got like the vibe and all that, and I'll never forget. I think it was like my first like real performance. The guys were, a couple of them were on stage rapping, and people see rap and they start walking away, they're like, oh. Like, unless you are a rap fan, you don't like rap, right? And so I'm about to go on, and I'm seeing all these people kind of move away to the other stuff going on in the park there, and so I thought, okay, I didn't feel as nervous because nobody was really really gonna watch me. And then I get on stage and I start rapping, and all of a sudden the crowd comes back and the nerves start coming, and I'm like, what do I do here? And then I get off stage, and a few of the young girls came up to me and they're like, wow, and they really like could relate to my story, and I speak a lot about what I've been through, and I knew then, I'm like, this is what I want to do, and being that shy person, I thought, well, how can I really, reach people? And God really, He said, you're going to use the music, and it's going to bring glory to me. And that's what I ended up doing. And, now it's so many years in that I have gained a little bit more confidence, and just knowing that, why do I do it and who I do it for. Um, and then becoming a pastor, that was another surprise along the way. But just like many people, when the pandemic hit, many people found themselves, what am I going to do? And I was working in a daycare, and they closed for the time being, and I really found myself like, what am I going to do? And at the time, my pastor at the time, he approached me with the idea of taking the online kind of program to become a pastor under where he was affiliated with. And so, yeah, and so I took that journey, and I came to discover that I had a lot of similarities with like where how this all came about for. So it's the Evangelical Missionaries Church of Canada, and kind of like how they started out like way back. And I discovered that I'm similar, because I always thought, I'm not the smartest person, and I always thought like there's no way I can go to school. Like, I wanted to just high school and then get out of there. And I never saw myself just putting in the time and the effort to do this, until I discovered, well, really you just have to be a willing vessel for the Lord.
Yes.
And have the understanding of the gospel, and I mean, so I thought, hey, maybe I can do this. And yeah, and that's kind of how that started.
Miss Kimberly, we know that family support is crucial. How has your family supported you in your journey, especially during the challenging time?
Yeah, I have been blessed with a great family. So in my childhood, where it was my dad, my mom, my sister, and I, we had our ups and downs, like most families. No family is perfect. But one thing that I really held dear is, the commitment to each other, and really leaning in on one another. And so I'm quite family oriented, and I feel like, family is everything. And then I had my son. I was a single mom at the time, and so I truly discovered like what deep love unconditional love looked like. And so a lot of that was built um, on that. And then when I met my husband, um, he's been such a pillar in my life. I've been through a lot in relationships, and I've been with men that didn't really know my worth and didn't
Right.
treat me well. And so it was hard at first because my husband would speak into my life a lot about my beauty and who I am, um and just genuine love that I didn't know how to accept at first. And so, but over the years, I've come to realize that love can be real and love can be true, and it's just a matter of waiting on the Lord for that. And this past year has been like the worst year of my life. Losing my mom, and there's been a lot of struggles we faced, and my family's really been there, and they've really seen me through a lot, even with like my mental health struggles. They've really like supported me, listened to me, even though they don't fully understand. They never made me feel like I wasn't accepted or loved. So they've been a great support in my life.
First of all, I want to say I'm very sorry for your loss.
Definitely.
My mom passed during the pandemic, so I know how that is. And
And mine passed in 2016.
yeah,
That was the worst year of my life. And 10 days later, almost lost my husband. He had
Wow.
blood clots. And we had to rush him to the hospital. And the doctor said if you hadn't brought him in, he wouldn't have made it through the night. 10
Wow.
days after my mom passed. So I
Wow.
know about that
hmm
roughness.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, and you're talking about the challenges that you have with your mental health, and it's understandable during the moments of grief. But you've also been open about anxiety and depression in throughout your life. How have you managed to overcome those challenges as they come?
Yeah, like it's definitely been a journey, and
hmm
I'd be lying to say that I have fully overcome, but I feel like for me it's I've just discovered just how powerful we humans can be. And I feel like just having that understanding that I am bigger than the depression, the anxiety, I'm stronger than that. And the things that I've gone through, and I've just kind of refused to have any other options but to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like I had mentioned with the birth of my son, that's one of my first experiences of just I had something and someone to live for,
hmm
and just understanding that I was responsible for a life, and I wanted to get better. And it's been a journey, and he had to go through a lot too, like when I was a single mom and it's just him and I. Those days where I had to take myself to the hospital, I'd have to get him ready, and we'd take a cab there, and we'd be in there all hours of the night.
hmm
And he kind of went along while I was struggling. He faced that too.
hmm
Um, but for me, I just I never gave up, and then I discovered hope. And I feel like for me, it's been just having the hope that things will get better,
hmm
and believing that I will get better. And so now where I am on that journey is I feel that when I am hit sometimes with anxiety and depression, I can quickly speak against that and let anxiety and depression know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of them having power over me,
Right.
I take the control back and say no
hmm
to it, and refuse to let it have any control over me. And then just living out a purpose driven life. Like, why do I keep going? Why do I keep living? And just having purpose in my life has really given me a lot of the control back.
That's awesome. Mental health advocacy is so important. How do you use your platform to raise awareness and support for mental health?
Yeah, I've really just seen just using my personal story and just being transparent. I've seen and I've heard people, really inspired by that and encouraged by that. And I've had people come up and thank me because they didn't feel alone anymore. And I actually sang at a park in in our city about 2 weeks ago, and I shared about my mom's passing um and mental health and just all that. And a young girl came up to me later on that day, and she thanked me for sharing about my mom because she had recently lost her dad,
Mm.
and she felt, up to that point, up to hearing my story, she felt alone. She felt like nobody really understood the loss.
Mhm.
And hearing me speak, she really felt like somebody understood. And um, so that's really like kind of just being myself and being transparent. I find that that's how I'm advocating for others, and kind of like the voice of the voiceless, because some people aren't yet in a place where they feel like they can share what they're going through, or maybe they're ashamed.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to end that stigma. I remember hearing years ago, when we have a sore tooth, we go to the dentist.
Right.
Mhm.
When we're not feeling well, we go to the doctor.
Yes.
So if we're struggling with our mental health, what's wrong with getting help?
Right.
And, we've got to kind of end that. And it's really hard as a Christian, because I've had some people say,
Mhm.
well, why don't you just pray about it? Or
Mhm.
Exactly.
as if I haven't, right?
Right.
Oh,
And I, yeah,
why didn't I do that?
exactly. It's like, should have thought of that. And so, it's been hard at times, because I think some people don't understand, just because we're Christian, it doesn't mean we're immune to things happening to us.
Right.
But I think the goal should be that because I am Christian, that I can then share where it's no longer by my strength, but by God's strength, that I am still here,
Mhm.
and show the power, just how powerful our faith can be, and how much it can bring us through like the worst of times. Like, I know for certain that I'm not here by my own strength. I'm here because of the Lord, and me holding on to His promises.
Yes, definitely.
Can you share with us some of things you do for self care?
Yeah, I finally at a place where self care, I've realized, is very important.
Hmm.
Um, one thing, few things that I started doing is really just the things I love to do.
Hmm.
Because then it doesn't become work, right? It's
Hmm.
just, oh, I love to do that. So I love to go for walks, and I love to paint and draw and do all those things. So I try my best to stick to the things I love to do. And then I've learned to incorporate the things that I should do. And so, you know, just the simple things of drinking more water and putting in the nutrients in my body that I should be having, and things that are good, um, for that. And then aside from that, I've learned um to just live my life with meaning. And so, for example, like I've learned to say no to the things that drain my energy.
Yes.
And I've learned to say yes to the things that benefit my whole body, mind, body, and spirit. And even more recently, over this past year, it's something that I know I had to do after losing my mom. I had to take care of myself because I was slowly getting really, really sick. And then February of this year, I was really just not physically well, and met with my doctor. And there were some, serious things that I had to put into place and really start to take care of myself. And so that's when I started, walking more and drinking water more and doing those things. But on a personal level too, I removed myself from people and places that didn't serve me well.
Yes.
And though that's not, that was hurtful because I've lost some friendships along the way. But I've also gained new friendships and people that truly pour into my life and inspire and encourage and support me.
Yeah.
And God's really done a work there. And I'm so much. I actually was told just a few weeks ago from somebody who met me kind of closer to my darker times, just like a month or two after my mom passed. And he had said a few weeks ago, he said, I can feel the peace in you now that wasn't there when he met me. And that just meant the world to me because I feel it too. But when others say that, it truly,
Where's the name Chosen Art comes from?
So I was, when I got into the rapping, a few of the guys would like call me, I forget what the one name was. Somebody wanted me to be named Divine, and other people like were giving me names. And then somebody along the way had called me Chosen One. And I was like, I read up about that. I'm like, no, that's Jesus, not me. But Chosen. And then I read First Peter 2, where it talks about we're a chosen people, a royal priesthood, God's very own possession. I thought, wow, that really hit me because to just be called, God's very own possession, like there was just something about that. And I believe we're all chosen to be his children, and we're all chosen to be who he calls us to be. But yeah, and then as I started getting more, so I would always kind of do the rapping and stuff like that. But then more recently, I discovered I used to paint as a kid. Like when I was younger, I used to draw and paint. And then I kind of, life got busy, whatever. And then, again, over the pandemic, what am I going to do with myself and how can I help people? And so I started getting back into my paintings again. And so now I have this ministry called Chosen Arts where I paint, and with the proceeds, so I sell my paintings, and with the proceeds, I've just given back to people in my community. So whether they need help with groceries or clothing, or a little bit of help with rent or whatever it is they need, um, with proceeds of my sales, I just do my best to help the people in our community. And actually, this Saturday we're doing a backpack giveaway, and I think we have close to 25 backpacks and tons of school supplies that we'll be giving out to the community. And so Chosen Arts is just a more broader thing from Chosen, from my rap name.
I love it. I love it. Music has been a significant part of your healing and your ministry. How's it served as a tool for you? And just what does music do for you? Like when you're feeling low, how does that change your whole outlook?
I was born into the music as far as like, my dad always, still to this day, always listens to music. My mom could sing well and my sister could sing well. I wasn't as much of the singer. And my grandpa and my uncle, they would play guitar and sing. And, I wasn't as comfortable with the singing, but I really loved poetry and got into that. And then the poetry just kind of turned into the rapping. But I discovered it was in the writing where it became like therapy sessions for me. I'm somebody like I've had tons of songs and poems that I've never released because it was just for me, and journaling and things like that where it's just for me. And then some songs the songs I have released, you'll always notice that it's connected to something somewhere along in my life, and kind of like that part of the journey where I was at my lowest, and then kind of like I take you on the journey of like how God, my faith plays a role, and kind of how I've gotten through all of that. And so I really think like the music for me in many ways has been life-saving, um because even to reflect and stuff too. But yeah, like I think that it's played such a huge role in my healing journey, just being able to express myself. And I really want to point out, express myself in a healthy way,
Yes.
I think has been most important, because addiction runs deep in my family. And um but for myself, I've just chosen to, take this route where it's a healthy way of expressing myself. And along the way, whoever I'm able to encourage and inspire. And, that's the added bonus of that for sure.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Would you sing us a little bit of a rap of one of your songs?
I had no idea she was going to do it.
I put her on the
I am
spot.
not a part of that.
Okay. That's okay. I try to always somewhat come prepared. All right. So I'm actually going to I can do this song. It's called Beautiful. And really the background of that is I lived a lot of my life, especially as a young kid and teenager, thinking that beauty only had to do with the outward,
Mhm.
until I discovered, no, like it's who we are inside that matters most. And so I wrote a song kind of along those lines, and just kind of where I just discovered that my beauty has nothing to do with the outer. I mean, we're all beautiful in our own right. Um, but really the inside, how can I be a person of substance? Somebody who is just a good, genuine person, and not and an honest person, and that to me is true beauty. So let me do a little bit. You can even, if you want me to stop, I can stop, or I'll just do a verse or two.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I look in the mirror, I hit the lies I hear. I search for the truth when it's not so clear. Cause the same image I see just ain't the real me. Am I alone, and does anybody feel me? Some say the true beauty lies within, and that's something that I would never doubt. But some say there's a gift that I've been given, and I want it to shine from the inside out. I know no kind of beauty is ever skin deep, cause there's so much more that makes me me. But honestly, sometimes I had enough, and I'm sick of being the diamond in the rough. When everything around me is going wrong, I can't let go, I gotta hold on. It's like a broken record that just keeps playing. Then I hear this voice and I hear it saying, and then it's just the chorus is don't give
Oh, no. Oh, God. That is so good.
Ooh.
As I said, I'm not really the singer, so but yeah, the chorus is, I don't even know if I'll attempt to sing it, but I'll try. So the chorus goes, don't give up, don't let go. You are beautiful. Don't give up, Don't let go. You are beautiful. Something like that.
Can you
Beautiful.
say again that it's just your mom and your sister that are the singers and that you're not the singer?
Mm-mm.
Ever. Oh my God.
I love it.
Yes.
I
It is
listen to the
beautiful.
words. I love it.
I love her voice
Yes, I
too.
love your voice.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Oh, no, I love it. I'm done now.
This is such a blessing
Yes.
Thank you.
because you know to look at you, no one will say, well, she looks like she can rap. They'll probably say, she knows nothing about rap. She probably can't even name a rap artist.
Yeah.
Can they
And
sing
that's
opera?
and that's what the
Something like
beauty is. That's what a beauty is. You just
Yes.
boom, blow their minds.
That's
I
awesome.
love it.
That's so exciting.
Music heals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to write,
Mm-hmm.
that's like another level of healing.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
I listen to certain music, I used to be a choir director. So
Oh.
all I listened to were Christian songs. And now sometimes I go back and I love to put my ear pods in and put a song on and just let it marinate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not the one to write a song and rap about it, or rap a song, but to listen to a song. I think I was listening to some music the other week and she saw how it affected me.
Wow.
Okay, and it was in a good way.
Yeah.
I say every now and then I just need to put on music and let the Lord minister to me because we get so busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get so busy and he's trying to say, wait a minute. I need to say something to you, or I need to calm your nerves, or, anything that he wants to minister to you. So when I listen to music, it ministers to me. It's like I can feel the hair on my arms stand
Mhm.
up. I'm tingling.
Yeah.
I feel good. And after I listen to the music, it's like, okay, my situation has not changed, but I feel better.
Exactly.
You know.
There's like that
Mm-hmm.
that piece, and I think too with that song in particular, like it's resonated quite a bit with men and women and
Mhm.
children, like of all, people of all ages, and um, because I think that we all, many of us, anyways, we all kind of have gone through that time in our lives where we just didn't feel good about
Mhm.
ourselves, and unfortunately we do live in a world of comparison, and so I would see, oh, these blonde girls, perfect hair, not no freckles, or
Mm-hmm.
their teeth didn't have gaps like mine, and their hair wasn't like curly and frizzy like mine, and so I would compare, and once I came to a place in life where I realized whether I have this or that or whatever, if I'm not a decent person, then that's where the ugly comes from. It comes from within,
Mm-hmm.
and then that means the very opposite too can come from within, and we can be people of beauty based on who are we from our heart, from the inside out. And so a lot of people resonate with that song, like that song resonates with them because I think a lot of us kind of, whether we talk about it or not, I think a lot of us understand that message, and really, you know it just breaks my heart because I know the potential of so many people. It's like, if you just knew how amazing you are and how wonderfully made, uniquely made you are by God, if you knew that and you live out who God says you are,
Mm-hmm.
you would have so much power in this world
Mm-hmm.
in a good way, being able to go and impact lives for the better.
If you were to think about your life, what would you think are the biggest lessons that you've learned throughout your life?
Um, I mean, yeah, there's so many lessons, that have really helped me along. But one that I really think of and remember is there's a lady I know who she would say, you wake up and you just kind of feel like blah. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to do anything. And so she would say, come on, carcass, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, it just kind of has always stuck with me, meaning that, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of doing it anyway, even when we don't feel like it. And God has proven time after time after time that when I do go and do the things that I'm afraid to do, he reminds me why he sent me there in the first place. And so just up to like my last performance, I was like, I don't want to go. I was battling and all that. And then that girl came up and shared about losing her dad and how she didn't feel alone, which to me speaks volumes, because if I wasn't there, I don't want to cry. I feel like I get emotional, but if I wasn't
Very.
there,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I
We
wasn't,
crier here, so
yeah,
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 we allow crying here. There's healing in tears.
that's
So,
right, that's right.
bro.
But yeah, like I really, in that moment, if I wasn't there,
Mhm.
that means she would have still felt alone,
Mhm.
right? And so God reminds me that I have a place in this world.
Mhm.
And yeah, and so that's been one lesson, is to just go anyway, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't want to get up. Get up and do something with your life. And then another one that I've learned too is I've one big lesson I've had to learn is not everyone likes me.
Right.
And that's been a hard reality, because I'm like, I like to think I'm a good
Right.
person
I'm like,
and lovable, right? But I've come to discover that we're all different for whatever reasons, and also some people aren't ready for my love and aren't ready for someone who, because I can be kind of like, I like the deep conversations and I can be quite sensitive and emotional, and some people aren't ready
Mhm.
right.
for that. And some have treated it as if it was a bad characteristic in me. And then I was led to believe that, I had all these issues, until I discovered that, what, some people, you know, they just aren't going to like me, and I have to be okay with that. But I also don't need to chase them.
Yeah.
I don't need to chase for their approval. And then the other one that really stood out for me is learning to forgive even if I don't get the apology.
Mhm.
That's really shifted a lot of my my life for the better, and my heart
Yeah.
for the better is even though they don't always apologize or take ownership in their wrongdoings, um, I need to forgive regardless. And that has really freed me a lot, especially over the past couple of years.
You were talking about the not being liked by everybody, and I was taught that lesson very early by my own mom. She used to tell me, sometimes you have an issue at school, somebody's bullying you or whatnot, and when I would get home, she would tell me, "You're not a $20 bill. Not everybody wants to be around you."
Mhm.
She was very direct, my
Yeah.
mama.
Very direct. Mhm.
But that I learned that very early. But that's how she would tell me, "You're not a $20 bill. Not everybody wants you."
That's awesome.
So I grew up with that lesson very early uh, at home. But as a human, you still want that, because you're like, I'm being nice. I'm you
Mhm.
know um doing all the things that I'm supposed to do. Why? Like,
Why am I
so
being
yeah,
rejected?
right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
we all struggle with that. But it just reminded me of my mom. The
I love it.
$20 bill.
Just say that for now, and that's awesome.
No, I know that's what brought to my
And
mind.
I struggle with people pleasing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
being abused as a child, being very confused. And I thought I had to do things for people to make them like me or
Mhm.
love me. It took me a long time to realize that I don't. I can be who I am. Um, what God put in me, just let it shine. There are a lot of people that don't like you because you're happy.
Yes.
There are a lot of people, there are people that may not like you because you have a gift of making people feel good, encouraging people. And I'm like, why are you standing over there hating? You got the same thing. You need to come on over,
Yep.
But no matter how hard we try, there's going to be somebody
Yeah.
that still has negative thoughts or negative comments toward us. We have to be able to rise above that, especially when we know what we're doing is for God
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and for Him to be glorified and for the world to see Him through us.
That's right.
And that's one of the main reasons why we're doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us are educated in mental health. But God gave Natty, let's do a podcast because there's some people that may not ever set foot in a church,
Yep.
but they will go on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and listen to a podcast and they'll listen to the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like ministry is not always in a church building, the edifice.
Exactly.
Your ministry goes with you wherever you go
Mm-hmm.
because the ministry is in you,
Yeah.
so you take it wherever you go.
Yeah.
And
And
ministry is as simple as smiling at someone. You go in the grocery store, just smile at somebody and say hello or have a great day. That's a ministry right there.
that's right.
Because you don't know that person. That person says, oh my God, I'm having a bad day. But a stranger smiled at me and told me to have a good day.
Exactly.
You could change a person's perspective.
So true.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been, even hurt in church, right? And so
Yes. Church is.
yeah. And so a lot of people that's why like I love we were kind of there was a preaching years ago and about like it's called like Beyond the Four Walls.
Mm-hmm.
And I've loved that preaching and I love that ministry because it's exactly what we do in our community. It's bringing the kingdom of God, bringing that to earth. And there really wasn't, that I recall, and I could be wrong, but Jesus really wasn't about preaching in the churches.
Mm-hmm.
He was about preaching to those people that truly needed to hear the gospel and to know the love of Him. And so, in the same way, just like you were saying, wherever we go, we bring Jesus's love with us. We
Yes.
bring the gospel with us, and I think it's so important to I find for myself, like, I may go to church because of my fill and my needs spiritually, but I I know there's a lot of people that won't step foot in a church or they've been hurt by the church. And so you're right, they will search elsewhere for things. But even putting on, there's been things we've put on in our community where it may not necessarily be like faith based,
Mhm.
but we use godly principles.
Mhm.
Right.
And because there's some people that don't want to really have anything to do with God. And I remember hearing this years ago too, where it's, for some people, we are the only Jesus they know
Mhm.
until they know Jesus themselves.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Right? And so that's a huge, I don't take that lightly,
Lightly.
right? And nobody should. If we say we're Christian, then we should be living out the love of Christ. And that doesn't mean we always get it right,
Right.
because we're not Him. But at the same time, we have to be those willing vessels to love like Christ did. And so that's why we do what we do in our community, because it's really just bringing the love of God in practical ways. Sometimes we just throw on art camps and the kids will come and we'll paint and we'll sculpt and we do different stuff. But all the while, there's so much godly principles, even when it comes to art, right? And
Yeah.
so it's just kind of using that and, bringing the love of God to our community.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. What advice would you give someone who is struggling with similar challenges that you faced in your life?
Yeah. So, I think for me, the advice is, in some ways, I know this will make sense, but to actually listen to your own advice. Because I find that so many people were so good at helping everyone else around us.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really discovered, even with the mental health, when God started bringing people into my life that have anxiety, they have depression, and I would get so frustrated with them. I'd be like, "Do you not know, your worth and who you are, and what and that they'd be stuck in this idea of stuff like just lies and stuff, and I'd get so frustrated, and I would spend so much energy into pouring into them. And then I realized, when I'm in my dark moments, why am I not pushing myself the same way and
Mm-hmm.
loving myself the same way
Mm-hmm.
and saying those exact words that I say to everyone else around me? Why am I not taking my own advice?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned to, more so, because I still have my days, but I've learned more so to practice what I preach
Mm-hmm.
and to really, um, you know, live out how I encourage other people to live out their life. And so that to me is like the greatest advice, is to, think of that one person even that you love the most in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are struggling, what would you say to them?
Mm-hmm.
And in return, say the same thing to yourself.
And lastly, do you have any upcoming projects within your ministry or the music or the painting?
Um, yeah, like there's a couple things. One is, my husband and I were hoping to start a website because, as you mentioned, I am a woman of many hats. There's just, lots of things I love to do and be involved in. But for some people, it's confusing because it's like, wait, you do this, but then you do that, and you do that. Like, what do you do? And so, um, we're planning on getting a website where people can kind of come in, learn more about who we are and what we do in the community,
Mm-hmm.
and then there will also be a little, kind of like a hub of, say people want, say, because we know a lot of people sometimes are like, oh, do you know anyone who could use, kitchen table and chairs, or do you know anyone who needs diapers, or anyone who needs wipes, or, and the list goes on. And so I'm thinking of starting a website where we have families in our community registered, and whatever we have that's been donated, they can kind of come in and almost check like a grocery list of, okay, maybe I need, a few of this, a little bit of that, and we stay in connection with our neighbors and our families, but they can kind of see what's up there, and have a
Available.
place where, and then have a place where donors can come in and be like, I want to donate this, donate that. And then eventually the hope is to have a place where this can all be stored,
Mm-hmm.
and then just make the connections. And so we're believing that will come to fruition soon. And then another thing, because I did do a CD years ago of about, I forget how many songs, like 7 songs and a spoken word and a few other stuff. And I know that there's more depth to those songs, but you can only say so much
Mm-hmm.
in 3 to 4 minutes. And so I really have a passion to write a book that would have my lyrics, but then my story more in depth, and then maybe some sort of a devotional and a prayer. It would probably be more geared to women and that, but obviously, whoever feels like to have it.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really hoping on that. And I don't know, as far as the music, there's there's still that in me that I want to maybe write a few more songs. And my son's been getting into making beats himself, and so I'd love to do a few things with his music on the tracks. And yeah, just being open enough that however God wants to use me, to just be willing to do what he wants me to do.
We want to thank
It's
you.
wonderful.
I think it's
It is
great.
great.
We want to thank you for coming to Thrive. This has been wonderful, and we're grateful for you sharing your life, your talents, everything you've been doing with the community. We're very grateful for you.
Thank
Share
you.
Jesus. I can feel Jesus when I
Thank
talk
you.
to you.
Thank you so much. It
Yes.
really means a lot. And yeah, just want to encourage everyone that, you know, as long as we just keep going and
Mhm.
truly have the desire to find out and discover who we are in Christ,
Mhm.
and how he sees us, and whatever, like, I truly believe that, because I have so many people, they're like, oh, I can't do what you do, and I said, I am a testament
Mhm.
of somebody who, in my own strength, I know I wouldn't be here and
Right.
be able to do this. Like, I just know it.
Yeah.
And I'm a testament of, when we submit fully to God,
Mhm.
we become somebody, and we surprise ourselves.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. And
Yeah.
Miss Kimberly, your resilience and faith are a testament to the power of overcoming adversity. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors and look forward to seeing the amazing things that you will continue to achieve. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
This is your house, so keep us posted with all those
Yes,
projects,
Will
and
do.
you're always welcome.
always
Thank you
welcome.
so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in to another episode of Thrive by the Rising Muse. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. So please subscribe and comment.
And don't forget to follow us on our social media for updates on upcoming episodes and more inspiring content.
On a more serious note, remember that if you're experiencing a mental health crisis, dial 988. And if you have somebody in your family or a loved one um, in the middle of a mental health crisis, please dial 911 or take them to the nearest emergency room. Until next time, be well, stay blessed, and don't forget to thrive. Have a blessed day.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.